Hi, I'm Lanni, and I'm one of the SLPs here at Child Development Programs. Today, let's chat about a piece of language development that may be less familiar to you. Often when babies and young children are learning to communicate, we focus as parents first on the sounds, and then the words and the sentences, and then eventually conversation. But underlying all of that is something called social communication. And when it's developing well, we don't even notice or think about it. Social communication is a term that describes the crossover between verbal and nonverbal communication and social knowledge. It's about all of those unspoken rules that we follow when we interact with others. And those rules can vary from culture to culture. Typically, many of these rules are learned by children developing their communication abilities without anybody talking about or teaching them. Let's take a look at an adult example to help you see what I mean. Imagine what happened when I walked into the coffee shop this morning to pick up this coffee and a yogurt. There were so many things that I and the person behind the counter did and didn't do during our little interaction. When I walked in, we looked at each other, we said hi, we used some gestures like I pointed and said this yogurt, not that one. We smiled, we had a little conversation about the rain outside. Before they took my order, I was careful to wait my turn until the person behind the counter said, "Can I help you?" And I didn't talk too loudly or too softly or take too long to pay. I didn't say too much. Even though I had a terrible morning, I still said fine when someone said, "How are you?" And I did all the steps to get my coffee in the right order. During all of that, I also thought about what the server might have been thinking about me. So in just that very short exchange in the coffee shop this morning, the server and I used many of our social communication skills. If I had used the right words, like saying coffee please or can I have a yogurt please, but I had said them in a way that the person wasn't expecting, like I had turned my back to them or I put my face too close or I yelled my order, I used my arms in a way that was too exaggerated, or even if I tried to pay first before I gave them my order, it would have seemed like a very unusual interaction to somebody who was watching because of the social rules where I live. When our social communication skills are well developed, we have successful interactions with others. But if they aren't, even if the words are there, our interactions fall short. Speech-language pathologists are skilled in assessing not only what children say and understand, but also the how and why when it comes to interacting with others. We'll help you ensure that your child is developing all of their skills in all of these areas.